You ever notice how people can say, "I love you," with the same mouth they use to destroy you? Oh, it's almost impressive. They look you in the eyes, soft voice, sweet smile, like you're safe, like you're protected, like the most important thing in their world. And you believe it, don't you? Because you're not built to suspect poison in a cup that looks clean. You're not built to think someone holding your heart is also holding a knife. But that's the world. That's the trick. They don't come with warning labels. They come with promises. They come with warmth. They come with, "I'm here." And haha, the moment you finally relax, the moment you finally need them, they disappear like smoke. Like you were never real, like your loyalty was just something they borrowed and threw away when it got heavy. And the crazy part, they don't even feel guilty. They don't sit up at night thinking about what they did to you. They don't lose sleep the way you do. They keep eating, laughing, posting, living, while you're sitting there in silence, trying to understand how someone could hold you so close and still drop you on purpose. That's what destroys you, not the goodbye, not the distance, the realization. The realization that the hands you trusted weren't careless, they were intentional. They knew what they were doing, they knew the fall would hurt, and they let you fall anyway, just to see how loud you would break. You felt it, didn't you? That moment, like something inside your chest cracked, like your whole identity shattered into pieces you couldn't even recognize. And you thought that was the end. You thought being broken meant you were finished. But oh, that's the part they don't understand. That's the part nobody tells you. When glass breaks, it doesn't become harmless. It becomes sharper. It becomes dangerous. The soft version of you might have died that day, but what was born from that betrayal, what rose up from that silence, it's not weak. It's not begging. It's not asking for closure. It's cold. It's aware. It's watching. And every piece they shattered, every scar they left, every time they chose themselves over you, it didn't erase you, it rewired you, it sharpened you.
So listen carefully, because this isn't a heartbreak story. This isn't some sad little lesson about moving on. This is something darker, something real. This is what happens when a man stops believing in comfort. This is what happens when you realize love is cheap in the mouths of people who don't know loyalty. This is what happens when the person you were becomes ashes, and the person you become after doesn't burn the same way. They thought you would crawl back. They thought you'd stay soft. They thought you'd keep bleeding quietly and calling it love. But you're not that man anymore. No, you're the aftermath. You're the silence after the betrayal. You're the one who learned the hard way, and the hard way makes monsters out of good men. And the worst part for them, they don't even realize it yet, but they created someone they can't touch again. And after that moment, after the shattering, comes the part nobody posts, nobody brags about, nobody makes look beautiful. because this pain, it isn't cinematic. It isn't rain falling perfectly outside a window while some soft song plays in the background. Nah, it's ugly, it's raw. It's waking up with your eyes open and your body already tired, like you ran a marathon in your sleep. It's that heavy weight sitting on your chest before you even move, and you don't know why it's there. You just know it won't leave. You sit up, and you don't even feel like a person. You feel like a ghost, trapped in a body that still has responsibilities, bills, messages, people asking, "You good?" and you lying, because explaining would take too much energy, because the truth would sound too pathetic to say out loud. And haha, that's the cruel joke. You can be dying inside and still have to act normal outside, still have to be polite, still have to show up, still have to smile.
You know that feeling where you wake up and for 1 second you forget what happened. Just 1 second, and then it hits you again like a punch. That memory, that betrayal, that silence. And suddenly your stomach drops, your throat tightens, your mind starts replaying scenes like a broken record. What you said, what they said, how they looked at you, how you trusted them, how you ignored the signs because you wanted to believe. And that's the worst part, isn't it? Not that they left, not that they lied. It's that you saw the red flags and you still walked toward them because you thought your love could change the ending. But love doesn't change people. Love just gives them more access to hurt you. That's the truth nobody likes to hear. And then there's the phone. Oh God, the phone becomes this sick little altar. You pick it up like it's going to bring you peace, and it brings you nothing. You check it, refresh, stare, and it's silent. No messages, no "I'm sorry", no explanation, just quiet. And that quiet feels louder than any insult they ever said, because at least insults mean they cared enough to speak. Silence means you're not even worth closure. You're just discarded, like trash that got taken out and forgotten. And you sit there, staring at a screen like it's a coffin, waiting for words that never come. And the waiting turns into poison. It turns into obsession. It turns into shame, because part of you knows you shouldn't be waiting, and part of you can't stop. That's how pain traps you. It makes you betray yourself while you're already bleeding.
Nights are the worst, not because the world is scary, but because the world gets quiet. And when the world gets quiet, your mind gets loud. That's when the memories show up. That's when the questions show up. Why wasn't I enough? What did I do wrong? Why did they change? Did they ever even mean it? And you can't outrun those questions because they live inside your skull. You can distract yourself for a few hours, scroll, watch something, talk to someone, but then you close your eyes and it's right there, that silence pressing against your ears like 1,000 tons, that feeling like your chest is a locked room and every breath is hitting the walls. You lay there, wide awake, staring into darkness, and it feels like the darkness is staring back, like it knows something about you, like it knows you're not okay. And pain doesn't just hurt your feelings, it changes you. That's what people don't understand. Pain rewires you. It rewires your instincts. Your brain starts scanning for danger, even when nothing is happening. Your heart starts closing doors automatically. You start questioning kindness. You start doubting love. You start hearing, "I care about you." And instead of feeling warmth, you feel suspicion. You start thinking, "What do you want from me? What are you planning? Who are you really?" Because once someone shatters you, your mind learns a lesson it never forgets. It learns that comfort is temporary. It learns that promises can rot. It learns that loyalty isn't common. And once you learn that, you don't unlearn it. You don't go back to being soft again. You might still love, but you love with armor now. You might still trust, but you trust with a blade behind your back, because pain doesn't leave you the same way it found you. It leaves you smarter, colder, and a little more dangerous. And that's why this part feels so ugly, because you're not just grieving them, you're grieving yourself. You're grieving the version of you that believed in forever, the version of you that thought loyalty was normal, the version of you that would have died for people who wouldn't even stay. That version is bleeding out quietly, and nobody's holding its hand. Nobody's mourning it. Nobody's even noticing it. It's just you, alone in the dark, learning what it really means to survive something that didn't kill your body, but tried to kill your spirit. And you keep breathing anyway, even when you don't know why.
And then, one day, maybe it's after the 100th time you check your phone. Maybe it's after another night where you stare at the ceiling until your eyes burn. Maybe it's after you hear yourself whisper why for the 10,000th time. You finally understand it. Not as an idea, not as a quote, not as something you tell yourself to sound tough. You understand it in your bones. Nobody is coming. Not your friends, not your family, not the ones who said, "I'm always here," not the people who hugged you and promised they'd never leave. Nobody. And that sentence doesn't feel brutal when you first hear it. It feels like motivation, like a cool line, like something you post with a black background and a skull emoji. But when it becomes real, when you've sat in silence long enough to realize the world doesn't stop for you, then it hits different. Then it feels like a door locking from the inside. Then it feels like you've been waiting at the window for someone who isn't even walking toward the house. And you finally see you weren't waiting for help. You were waiting for permission to live again. You thought someone would notice, someone would see how bad it got, someone would reach out and say, "Hey, I can tell you're not okay." But the truth is, most people don't notice. They're too busy drowning in their own noise, their own problems, their own stress. And even the ones who love you, they don't live inside your head. They don't feel what you feel. They don't hear the battles you're fighting at 2 a.m. when your body is exhausted, but your mind refuses to shut up. They don't know what it costs you to look normal. They don't know what it costs you to show up half alive. So they assume you're fine, and you let them assume it because you don't want to look weak, because you want sympathy without exposure. You want understanding without letting anyone see the mess.
And that's when you realize something even colder. The world doesn't reward suffering. It doesn't reward effort that nobody can see. It doesn't reward pain you hide behind a smile. The world rewards results, proof,
something tangible, something loud enough to be noticed. That's not cruelty, that's just the law of it. Pain doesn't come with witnesses. Suffering doesn't come with a trophy. You can break in silence and nobody gets alerted. You can bleed privately and the bills still come. You can be drowning and the world still expects you to show up and function like nothing is happening. And you can hate that. You can call it unfair, but the calendar doesn't care. Time doesn't slow down because you're hurting. Life doesn't pause because you feel empty. So that's the moment everything changes, because when you finally accept that nobody is coming, you stop waiting. You stop hoping someone will rescue you. You stop expecting a miracle. You stop sitting in your pain like it's a prison, and you start realizing it's not a prison, it's a test, and you've been taking the test with your eyes closed. Because rescue isn't a system built for you. There's no squad assigned to save men who can still breathe. Nobody is designed to fix your mind for you. Nobody is designed to carry your weight. If you can still stand, you're expected to carry yourself. If you can still talk, you're expected to solve your problems. If you can still choose, you're expected to choose better. That's the brutal math. That's why so many people stay stuck, because they keep waiting for sympathy to save them. But sympathy doesn't build anything. Sympathy doesn't change your life. Sympathy doesn't make you disciplined. Sympathy doesn't wake you up at dawn and force you to move. Only you do that. And the moment you accept this, the moment you stop looking outside yourself for the hand that never arrives, something happens. Your sadness turns into clarity. Your grief turns into focus. Your weakness turns into anger, but not loud anger, controlled anger. The kind that doesn't scream, it moves. The kind that doesn't beg, it builds. You don't need someone to understand your pain. You need to become the kind of man whose pain doesn't stop him. That's the shift. That's the beginning of strength. Because the day you realize nobody is coming is the day you finally rise like a man who has no choice but to save himself. And once you save yourself, nobody can ever take that from you again.
And once you accept that nobody is coming, your mind stops begging for rescue and starts replaying everything that led you here. That's when the memories come back with teeth. Not soft memories, not nostalgic ones, the kind that stab you in slow motion. You remember the laughs, the late nights, the "don't worry, I'm here," the way they looked at you like you were safe with them. Oh, you remember it so clearly that you can almost hear it again. Their voice, their promises, the way they said your name like it meant something. And that's the part that messes you up. Because it wasn't all bad. It wasn't all fake at the beginning. Or at least, it didn't look fake. That's why it hurts. Because if it was clearly evil from day one, you could have protected yourself. But betrayal doesn't come dressed like an enemy. It comes dressed like love. It comes wrapped in warmth. It comes with a smile and a promise. And that's why it's so effective. Because by the time you realize the truth, you've already handed over pieces of your soul. You start remembering the little moments, the ones that used to feel innocent, the "I'll always be here," the "I got you." the "we're forever," and you realize it was all conditional. It wasn't loyalty, it was convenience. It wasn't love, it was access. They loved the version of you that was easy to use, easy to call, easy to lean on, easy to manipulate. But the moment you became human, the moment you became heavy, the moment you needed support instead of giving it, that's when the mask slipped. That's when the warmth turned into distance. That's when the replies slowed down. That's when the energy changed. And the worst part is, they didn't even explain it. They just let it happen, like you were supposed to understand the betrayal without being told.
And you know what kills a man more than being left? Realizing he was never truly held. Realizing you were never safe. You weren't building something real. You were standing on a floor made of paper. And when it finally tore, you fell hard. That's why betrayal doesn't just hurt, it humiliates. It makes you question your own intelligence. It makes you replay every moment like, how did I miss that? How did I ignore that? How did I love someone who could do that to me and sleep peacefully after? And oh, that question eats your soul. Because you want to believe people are better than that. You want to believe loyalty is normal. You want to believe your love meant enough to stop them from hurting you. But it didn't. And that's when reality punches you in the face. People don't destroy you because they hate you. Sometimes they destroy you because they don't respect you. They don't respect your heart. They don't respect your loyalty. They don't respect your effort. They see it as something that will always be there, like air. And nobody values air until they start choking. You remember the way you defended them too. That's the most painful memory. You remember how you made excuses for them when people warned you. You remember how you said, "They're not like that." You remember how you trusted them even when your instincts screamed. You silenced your own intuition because you didn't want to lose them. You didn't want to believe the truth. You chose the fantasy over the facts. And betrayal punishes you for that. It doesn't just punish you for trusting them. It punishes you for betraying yourself. And anger shows up, but it's not loud anger. It's not screaming, throwing things, cursing their name. It's quiet, it's slow. It sits in your chest like cold metal. It's the kind of anger that doesn't want revenge. It wants understanding. It wants closure. It wants answers. And the cruel part is, betrayal rarely gives you answers. It gives you silence. It gives you emptiness. It gives you that sick feeling of being replaced like you were nothing. And over time, that anger stops wanting answers. It becomes something else. It becomes a lesson. It becomes a vow. It becomes that moment where you look at yourself and say, I will never let anyone have that kind of access to me again.
Because betrayal is education. Yes, expensive education. The kind you don't pay with money. You pay with sleep. You pay with peace. You pay with nights where your heart feels like it's bleeding through your ribs. You pay with tears that nobody sees. is. You pay with trust that never comes back the same way again. But once you pay it, you graduate. You don't walk through life innocent anymore. You don't hand out love like free samples. You don't believe words without proof. You don't chase people who treat you like an option. Betrayal teaches you the value of reality. It teaches you the weight of silence. It teaches you that some people only stay while they're winning. And the most brutal lesson of all is this: the pain wasn't the goodbye. The pain wasn't even the loss. The pain was realizing they were never real. They were just temporary actors in a story you thought was permanent. They were a mask you fell in love with, a fantasy you defended. And now you see the truth. And the truth doesn't comfort you. The truth hardens you. So yeah, they left. But what they really did was teach you. They didn't break you for nothing. They paid for your evolution with their betrayal. And now, you don't forget that lesson. Not ever.
And after betrayal, after the realization, comes the quiet torture. The one nobody talks about because it sounds so small, so childish, so pathetic on the surface. But you know it's not small. You know that phone became a weapon, a tiny glowing screen that controlled your emotions like a leash, because every time you looked at it, you were hoping, not even for love anymore, just for a sign, a word, a sentence, something that proves you mattered enough to deserve an explanation. And that's how it starts. You tell yourself you're not waiting. You tell yourself you're just checking. I'm just seeing what's going on. But you know the truth. You're refreshing because deep down you want them to come back with a message that says, I messed up. You want them to say, I didn't mean it. You want some magic combination of words that makes the pain feel justified, that makes the betrayal feel like an accident instead of a choice. But the screen stays quiet. No notifications, no missed calls, no apology, nothing. And that silence, it's not peaceful silence, it's loud, it screams. Because silence is a message. It says, you're not worth my time. It says, I can live without you. It says, I'm fine while you're falling apart. And oh, that's what crushes you. Not the fact that they left, but the fact that they left and didn't look back, like you were disposable, like you were replaceable, like your loyalty was just a convenience they used until it stopped feeling good. You start noticing things you never noticed before. How fast people move on. How easy it is for them to pretend you never existed. How they can go a whole day, a whole week without even checking if you're alive. And you sit there, staring at your phone like it owes you an answer. And the cruel part is, the phone doesn't lie. If you mattered, it would ring. If they cared, they would text. If they had guilt, they would call. But it stays quiet because their comfort is louder than their conscience.
That's what silence does. It exposes the truth without speaking. It shows you who they are without insults. It shows you the depth of their loyalty, which is usually shallow. It shows you how easy you were to abandon. It shows you that the connection you thought was strong was only strong because you were holding it together. You were the one making effort. You were the one reaching. You were the one forgiving. And the moment you stop, the whole thing collapses like a tent without poles. And at first, you panic. You think maybe they're busy, maybe they need space, maybe they're going through something. You make excuses for their silence like a fool trying to protect your own hope. But hope gets tired. Hope gets humiliated. Hope starts realizing it's being used. And then something changes inside you. Slowly, quietly, but permanently. You stop begging. You stop checking as much. You stop refreshing like your life depends on it. Not because it doesn't hurt anymore, but because you finally understand this. Answers don't change what happened. Closure doesn't reverse betrayal. An apology doesn't rebuild respect. Sometimes, silence is the only closure you'll get, and if you can't accept that, you'll stay trapped forever.
That's what silence teaches you. It teaches you how to live without comfort. It teaches you how to stand in emptiness without collapsing. It teaches you how to breathe without the validation that used to keep you alive. It teaches you how to stop needing people who don't need you. And that lesson is dangerous, because once you learn to live without closure, you become untouchable. You stop needing explanations. You stop needing reasons. You stop needing them to admit anything, because the silence already admitted it. The silence already confirmed it. The silence already proved what you didn't want to believe. And once you accept it, you stop negotiating with your own dignity. You know what's crazy? Most people can't handle that. Most people would rather stay in pain than let go of a fantasy. They'd rather keep checking the phone, keep hoping, keep begging, because begging feels like doing something. Letting go feels like dying. But you learn to let go without dying. You learn to release without collapsing. You learn to walk forward without answers. And that is power. That's the moment you stop being a victim of silence and start using silence as your weapon. Because silence doesn't just hurt you, it hardens you. It turns you into the kind of person who doesn't need anyone's words to keep moving. And once you reach that point, oh, you're not the same anymore. You're the kind of man who can lose people and still keep his spine. The kind of man who can be abandoned and still move like he's not missing anything. The kind of man who doesn't beg for closure because he already knows the truth. Silence taught him.
And that's when it happens. That shift. Not overnight, not like some movie transformation where the music builds and suddenly you're healed. Nah, it's slower than that. It's quieter. It's the moment you wake up one day and realize you're tired of bleeding for people who don't even notice. You're tired of carrying pain like it's a curse. You're tired of treating your scars like proof of weakness. And you start seeing it differently. You start seeing what pain really is. You thought pain was punishment. Haha, no. Pain was training. Pain was the gym you didn't sign up for, but got dragged into anyway. Pain was the drill instructor screaming in your ear when nobody cared. Pain was the weight that forced your soul to grow muscle. And every time you survived another night, every time you didn't break completely, every time you got up with that heavy chest and still moved, you were building something inside you that comfort could never build. You were becoming the kind of person who doesn't need perfect conditions, the kind of man who can carry chaos and still function. The kind of man who can lose what he loved and still keep moving forward like he's not waiting for permission. And this is the part people misunderstand. They think healing is soft. They think healing means becoming peaceful, becoming gentle, becoming open again. Sometimes it does, but for people like you, for men who've been betrayed, abandoned, laughed at, used, healing doesn't always come back soft. Sometimes healing comes back sharp, like a scar, like a blade, like something that says, "Touch me wrong and you bleed." Because you didn't just heal, you adapted, you evolved, you learned. You became someone who doesn't hand out access to their soul like it's free.
Look at your scars. You used to hate them, didn't you? You used to wish you could erase them, forget them, pretend you never went through that hell. But scars are proof. Proof you were hit and you didn't die. Proof you were crushed and you still stood back up. Proof that whatever tried to end you failed. And that's what scars are, a receipt, a record, evidence that you survived what should have destroyed you. Every tear you cried wasn't weakness, it was fuel. It was the poison leaving your system. It was the pressure being released so you could keep functioning. And those lonely nights, oh, those nights with a forge. Those nights built the darkest kind of strength because nobody saw it, nobody clapped, nobody comforted you. You suffered without witnesses. You carried yourself without help. You learned how to breathe through pain without making it everyone's business. And that ability makes you terrifying. Because the man who learns to survive alone becomes a man nobody can control. You see, the world wants you pretty. The world wants you soft. The world wants you to recover in a way that makes other people comfortable. They want you to be broken quietly and heal politely, so they don't have to feel guilty. But you weren't built to be someone's comfort story. You were built to be someone's warning. You were built to be proof that you can't break a real man and expect him to return as the same boy.
So stop trying to glue yourself back into what you used to be. Stop trying to rebuild a version of you that was easy to hurt. Stop trying to look pretty again for people who loved you most when you were soft enough to use. You don't need to be pretty. You need to be strong. You need to be unplayable. You need to be the kind of man whose presence says, "I've been through hell, and hell couldn't keep me." Because broken people don't always heal into butterflies. Sometimes they heal into wolves. Sometimes they heal into storms. Sometimes they heal into something cold and disciplined that doesn't need to speak loud to be feared. They heal into something silent but heavy, something calm but dangerous. That's what pain does when you stop resisting it, when you stop running from it, when you stop trying to make it disappear, and instead you ask it, "What are you trying to teach me?" Pain teaches you the value of strength. It teaches you that love without respect is poison. It teaches you that loyalty without boundaries is slavery. It teaches you that being alone is better than being surrounded by people who make you feel alone anyway. It teaches you to stop begging. It teaches you to stop chasing. It teaches you to stop needing. And when you stop needing, you become powerful. That's dominance. Not dominance over others, dominance over yourself. The ability to sit with discomfort and not flinch. The ability to feel the ache and still move. The ability to carry scars and still stand tall. The ability to look at your pain and say, "You didn't ruin me. You upgraded me." So let them think they broke you. Let them think you're still the same. Let them think you'll fold if they come back with a few sweet words and fake regret. Because while they're still playing games, you're building strength. And once strength replaces softness, you don't go back. Pain wasn't the end of you. Pain was your beginning.
And once pain turns into power, the next step isn't motivation. It isn't inspiration. It isn't some emotional high where you scream in the mirror and swear you're changing your life today. That's for beginners. That's for people who still think feelings are fuel. But you've already learned something deeper. Feelings lie. Feelings change. Feelings disappear the second comfort shows up. So if you build your life on feelings, your life collapses every time your mood drops. And that's exactly why you kept losing before. This is where discipline begins, not as punishment, as identity. Because once you've been shattered, once you've stared at the bottom and realized nobody's pulling you up, you stop needing motivation. You stop waiting for the right mood. You stop treating your life like it's something that will magically improve when the universe feels generous. You start building rules, structure, standards. You start living like a man who understands that his word matters, even when nobody hears it, especially when nobody hears it. The old you negotiated with weakness like it was a friend. Tomorrow, later, after I rest, after I heal. And oh, those excuses sounded so responsible, didn't they? They sounded mature. They sounded like self-care. But what they really were was fear dressed up in soft language. The old you kept bargaining with your own future like it was cheap, like it was disposable, like you could waste weeks and somehow still become great later. That's the fantasy that kills most men, not failure, drift. The slow drift into mediocrity while they keep telling themselves they're working on it.
But the new you doesn't negotiate. The new you doesn't ask how you feel before you move. He doesn't ask if you're motivated. He doesn't wait for confidence. He understands confidence is built after action, not before it. He understands discipline is what makes you trustworthy to yourself. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not exciting. It's simply doing what you said you would do, no matter what your emotions are doing that day. Because emotions are weather, and you don't build a life around weather. You build it around rules. Rules that don't care if you're tired. Rules that don't care if you're sad. Rules that don't care if you're still healing. You show up anyway. Not because you're pretending pain doesn't exist, but because you refuse to let pain control you. That's the difference between a man who survives and a man who becomes dangerous. One lets pain decide his behavior. The other uses pain as fuel, but follows rules as his master.
And this is where self-respect begins. Real self-respect. Not the kind you talk about, not the kind you post about, the kind you earn at 5 a.m. when nobody knows you got up. The kind you earn when you hit the gym even though your chest still feels cracked. The kind you earn when you work while you feel empty. The kind you earn when you keep your word even when your mind starts bargaining. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you rebuild your own trust. And trust in yourself is the strongest weapon you can have. It makes you unshakable. It makes you consistent. It makes you reliable. It makes you the kind of man who doesn't fold when life gets heavy. And life will get heavy. So you train for it now. You stop living like a man who reacts to life and start living like a man who commands his day. You wake up when you said you would. You move your body when you said you would. You work on your purpose when you said you would. You stop giving yourself 10 chances to escape. You tighten your environment. You remove temptation. You make your life harder in small ways so you're stronger in big ways. Because discipline isn't about being harsh. Discipline is about being honest. Honest enough to admit you've been weak and serious enough to stop feeding it. Honest enough to admit you've been living like your feelings are your boss, and disciplined enough to fire them. Because feelings are not leadership. Feelings are not strategy. Feelings are chemical noise. Discipline is leadership. Discipline is structure. Discipline is the decision that your word matters. And slowly, quietly, that discipline turns you into a soldier.
Not a soldier in war with the world, a soldier in war with yourself, with your cravings, with your comfort addiction, with your excuses, with your old patterns. Because the battlefield isn't outside, it's inside your skull. And every day you wake up, the enemy is there. The enemy is the part of you that wants to stay soft, the part that wants to stay distracted, the part that wants to scroll instead of build, the part that wants to feel good instead of become strong. And now you understand, you don't defeat that enemy by arguing. You defeat it by moving, by executing, by doing the work even when your mind screams. Because the mind is a liar when it comes to effort. It will always tell you it's too hard. It will always tell you to wait. It will always tell you you're not ready. But discipline doesn't ask the mind for permission. Discipline says we move anyway. And once you start moving anyway, your entire identity changes. You stop becoming someone who hopes and become someone who builds. You stop becoming someone who reacts and become someone who commands. You stop becoming someone who begs and become someone who earns.
And that's when your life stops being controlled by emotions and starts being controlled by standards. The new you doesn't negotiate. The new you doesn't wait. The new you shows up every day, silent, consistent, unbreakable.
And once discipline becomes your identity, your mindset shifts so hard that people won't recognize you anymore. They'll look at you and say, "You're cold now. You changed. You're different." And haha, they'll say it like it's an insult, like it's a problem, like you owe them the soft version of you forever. But you're not cold because you hate people. No, you're cold because you learned. You learned the hard way. You learned through betrayal. You learned through silence. You learned through being there for people who weren't there for you. You learned through giving your heart to someone who treated it like a toy. You learned through watching how fast love turns into convenience, how fast loyalty turns into excuses, how fast promises turn into nothing when life gets heavy. And once you learn that, you stop playing the same game. Because love without respect is poison. It looks sweet, it feels warm at first, but it slowly kills you. It makes you compromise your dignity. It makes you tolerate disrespect. It makes you accept crumbs like they're meals. And you did that, didn't you? You stayed longer than you should have. You forgave things that should have ended the story. You explained yourself to people who didn't deserve your breath. You tried to make them understand, when the truth is, they understood. They just didn't care. And loyalty without return, that's slavery. That's you being chained to someone who keeps taking and never gives. That's you carrying their weight while they watch you collapse and call it love. That's you sacrificing your peace for people who wouldn't sacrifice comfort for you. That's the trap of being a good man in a world full of people who treat goodness like weakness.
Because most people don't value kindness, they exploit it. They see a kind heart and they don't respect it. They test it. They push it. They see how much you'll tolerate. They see how many times you'll forgive. They see how far you'll bend before you break. And when you finally break, they act like you're the problem, like you're dramatic, like you're unstable, like your pain is inconvenient. That's why you're cold now. Not because your heart died, but because you stopped letting anyone touch it without earning it. You stopped chasing. You stopped begging. You stopped proving your worth to people who don't even know what worth looks like. You stopped performing emotions to keep them comfortable because you realized something dark. Your tears never made them respect you. Your honesty never made them loyal. Your forgiveness never made them change. It only taught them that you'll stay. It only taught them that you'll tolerate it. It only taught them that you can be used. So now you operate differently. Now you don't explain yourself. You don't write paragraphs. You don't send long messages trying to be understood. You don't argue with people who already decided they don't care. You don't chase closure. You don't chase answers. You don't chase anyone. Because chasing makes you look hungry, and hungry men get fed lies. Now
you move in silence. Now you let distance do the talking. Now you let results speak.
Because results don't lie. Results don't need explanations. Results don't beg. Results don't need validation. When your life improves, when your strength shows, when your discipline becomes obvious, the world understands without you saying a word. That's real power. Not screaming your pain, not telling your story 1,000 times, but building so much strength that your presence becomes undeniable. You know what's funny? People respect you more when you stop trying to be understood. They respect you more when you stop sharing everything. They respect you more when you stop reacting, because reactions make you predictable. Reactions make you easy to manipulate. If someone can pull emotions out of you, they can control you. They can trigger you. They can drag you back into chaos whenever they want. But when you become cold, controlled, quiet, suddenly they can't read you. Suddenly they can't predict you. Suddenly they can't play you. And that's when fear shows up. Not fear in you, fear in them. Because they realize they lost access. They realize the version of you that was easy to use is gone. Now your kindness has boundaries. Now your loyalty has conditions. Now your love has standards. And anyone who can't meet those standards doesn't get you. Because you're not available for everyone anymore. You're not cheap. You're not open. You're not desperate to be chosen. You choose yourself first now. You protect your peace like it's sacred. You protect your focus like it's a weapon. You protect your energy like it's currency, because it is. You don't waste it on people who drain you. You don't waste it on people who only love you when you're useful. And that's the new mindset. You're not cold. You're awake. You're not heartless. You're disciplined. You're not distant. You're focused. And the ones who can't handle it, the ones who complain about your silence, that's proof they were only comfortable when you were soft. They were only happy when you were available to be used. So let them talk. Let them call you cold. Let them whisper. Because the new you doesn't chase. The new you doesn't explain. The new you doesn't perform. The new you builds. And your results will say everything you never need to.
And then, after all that, after the pain, after the silence, after the rebuilding, comes the part that always happens. The part you can almost predict. The part that feels like a joke written by life itself. They come back. Oh, they always come back. Not immediately. Not when you're crying. Not when you're breaking. Not when you're sitting in the dark staring at your phone like it's a coffin. Nah, they don't come back when you're suffering. They come back when you're stable, when you're quiet, when you're no longer asking, when you've stopped begging, when your presence disappears, and suddenly they realize the world didn't hand them another you. And don't get fooled by the timing. They'll call it love. They'll call it, I've been thinking. They'll call it, I miss you. They'll say, I was going through things. Oh, yeah, right. That's not love. That's withdrawal. They miss access. They miss how easy you were to reach. They miss how you always answered. They miss how you forgave without consequences. They miss how they could treat you like an option and still find you waiting like a loyal dog at the door.
They miss the version of you that was too kind to leave, too soft to cut them off, too loyal to protect himself. That version made their life comfortable. And now that comfort is gone, and they feel the emptiness they created. Because here's the truth about people. They don't value you when they have you. They value you when your absence starts hurting them. When they wake up and realize nobody checks on them the way you did. When nobody carries their moods the way you did. When nobody forgives their nonsense the way you did. When they realize the world is cold and you were warmth they didn't deserve.
And it hits them slowly. Not in the day, not in the noise. It hits them late at night, when the distractions die, when the fake laughter fades, when the new people don't fill the void, when they sit alone and realize, damn, I really lost someone rare. That's when regret becomes heavy. That's when they feel the cost of what they did. And when regret gets heavy enough, they reach out. They'll send a casual message like nothing happened. They'll test the waters with a hey. They'll act like the betrayal was just a misunderstanding. They'll act like time erased the damage. They'll try to return without accountability, because that's what selfish people do. They want the benefit without the cost. They want your presence without earning it again. They want your loyalty while keeping their pride. But here's the part they don't understand. The version of you they miss is dead, buried, gone.
The old you would have responded immediately. The old you would have been emotional. The old you would have tried to talk it out, explain, forgive, reconnect. The old you would have been grateful they came back at all. But that man doesn't exist anymore. That man died in the silence. That man died the night you realized nobody cared about your tears. That man died when you learned love without respect is poison. That man died when you finally chose dignity over attachment. So when they come back now, they don't meet the same soul. They meet someone colder, someone sharper, someone who knows exactly what they're doing. And the temptation is real, don't lie. Part of you wants to respond. Part of you wants to ask why now. Part of you wants to remind them of what they did. Part of you wants to scream. Part of you wants revenge, because revenge feels like control. Revenge feels like justice. But listen, anger still gives them relevance. Anger means they still can pull emotion out of you. Anger means they still matter enough to disturb your peace. And you didn't build this new version of yourself just to hand them power again. So you don't respond with anger. You respond with silence. Because silence erases them.
Silence is the cleanest weapon. It doesn't argue. It doesn't explain. It doesn't beg. It doesn't show pain. Silence tells them something brutal without speaking. You no longer exist in my world. And that is the deepest revenge. Not because you're trying to hurt them, but because you're protecting yourself. You're letting them experience what you experienced. The absence, the quiet, the emptiness, the feeling of being ignored like you never mattered. And they'll feel it deeper than any insult because they expected access. They expected you to still be available. They expected you to still be soft. And when they realize you're not, it breaks something inside them. They'll try again. They'll send another message. They'll like your posts. They'll view your stories. They'll ask mutual friends about you. They'll play innocent. They'll act curious. They'll say, "I'm proud of you." They'll say, "I miss what we had." But what they really miss is the control. And you don't give control back because the new you understands something the old you didn't. Your absence is louder than your presence ever was. Your silence is heavier than any words you could say. And once you erase someone, they can't come back from that. So let them return, let them knock, let them reach, let them crawl, and let them feel what it's like to want you and not be able to touch you anymore. Because the moment you stop responding, the moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop giving them your energy, you win. Quietly, completely, forever.
And now we reach the end of this, not with screaming, not with rage, not with some loud victory lap like you need the world to clap for you. Nah, this ends calm, heavy, like a vow you whisper to yourself in the dark when nobody's watching. Because this isn't for them, this is for you. Listen, keep your scars. Don't hide them. Don't apologize for them. Don't try to erase them just because someone else is uncomfortable with what you survived. Those scars are not shame. They're proof. Proof you endured. Proof you didn't fold. Proof you crawled through hell with nothing but breath and stubbornness and still came out standing. You don't owe the world a soft version of yourself. You don't owe anyone the innocence you lost. Innocence is expensive, and you paid for yours with pain. So don't treat it like it was cheap. And keep your sharpness too. Don't sand your edges down to make weak people feel safe. Don't let anyone guilt you into being nice again, just so they can use you again. Your sharpness is your protection now. It's what stops you from returning to the same table where you were fed poison and called it love. It's what stops you from begging for people who never respected you. It's what stops you from repeating the same mistake with a different face. Sharpness is wisdom with teeth. Because you know what happens when you go back. You bleed again. And you don't bleed for the same lesson twice. So hear me clearly. Stop returning to places that broke you. Stop revisiting old conversations like they're museums. Stop rereading messages like they still contain hope. Stop checking on people who abandoned you like you're responsible for their comfort.
Stop giving your time to ghosts. Ghosts don't build futures. Ghosts only drain the present. And you've already lost enough time to people who didn't deserve it. You don't have more years to waste proving your worth to someone who couldn't see it when you gave it for free. And stop forgiving people who haven't changed. Not because forgiveness is wrong, but because forgiving the same behavior is permission.
It teaches them that they can hurt you and still keep you. That's not love, that's self-betrayal. And you've betrayed yourself enough. You've lowered your standards enough. You've carried other people's sins enough. It's over. This is the new oath. From now on, you don't chase, you don't beg, you don't explain, you don't perform. You don't break your own dignity just to be understood. You move, you build, you grow, you become so disciplined that your emotions stop running the day. You become so consistent that your progress becomes undeniable. You become so grounded that even loneliness can't shake you. You become the kind of man who doesn't need love to survive because he learned how to stand alone with his soul still intact. And that's the real power. Not revenge, not hatred, not cruelty, but control. Control of yourself, control of your standards, control of your life. Because once you have control, nobody can break you again. They can try, they can lie, they can leave, they can betray, they can vanish like smoke, but you won't collapse, you won't beg, you won't rewrite your worth just to keep someone around. You've seen what happens when you love without boundaries. You've learned what happens when you trust without proof. You've learned what happens when you forgive without respect. So you keep the lesson, you keep the scars, you keep the edges, because those broken pieces, they're not weakness anymore. They're your armor, they're your blade, they're your crown. And the next time life tries to shatter you, it won't find glass, it will find steel. So remember this and let it settle in your chest like a final truth. They shattered your soul, but now you don't break, you